Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Resident Rulebreakers. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
And this podcast, we are focusing on episode 203 called 3 Words. It's part of our Month of Conic celebration for Matt and Emily's birthdays.
Yep. This is the episode that, explores their backstory, how they met, how they fell in love, their breakup, everything.
It did, I forgot a lot of the stuff that was in this episode, so it did make me go, oh, okay, some of my questions may have just been answered, but I still have them, so. But before we get into the discussion of the episode, I want to note that this episode was written by Marqui Jackson and Joshua Troke. Those are the two writers that wrote it. But also, we do want to announce we have some special interviews coming for you to tune into. On June 1st, we are going to be interviewing Stephen Reddington, who played Bradley Jenkins for the first 2 seasons. So,
yes.
So June 1st, stay tuned for that. You can follow Stephen on Instagram, SJ Reddington.
Yep.
And so that's a can't miss. So the next thing is on June the 8th, we are doing another interview, and this time is with our show's co-creator and showrunner, Amy Holden Jones. Amy agreed after we put in last week's podcast that she would be our dream guest.
After listening to our podcast where we said that, we would love to invite her. She was like, I'd be happy to join you. I messaged her like, are you serious?
So we're very excited to have Amy on, and so that'll be released on June 8th.
Yep. And most of that discussion will be also about the background of the resident, like how she came about creating it, who approached who with Haley Shore and Roshan Sethi. Did she approach them or did they approach her? Her career, obviously, and also season 4. What's up with season 4? What do we expect? How's writing going with this crazy pandemic era, etc.?
And any type of plans for reopening production once we get renewal.
Yep.
So there's that as well. And like I said, Month of Conic, Matt and Emily both have birthdays. Emily's is actually Tuesday, so is Camille's. So
yeah, we're birthday twins.
They're birthday twins. Yep.
First of all, we are taping this on Mother's Day.
Yes.
So, happy Mother's Day to everyone in the world who's a mom. Dog mom. Well, there's animal mom, and there's also human mom.
And there's also dads who play mom.
Yeah. So
I had one of them.
If you're a mom to someone, happy Mother's Day. This day is for you. And, I hope your day is made special.
Yes.
There's only one mom in the main cast, and that's Jane Leaves. So happy Mother's Day, especially to Jane Leaves, because she's the only mother that's actually in the cast.
So happy Mother's Day, Jane.
Yeah.
But on Tuesday, we are going to post a very special thing for Emily, so stay on the lookout for that. Matt's birthday is the 20th, so we're going to be working on that one. So still
next week.
Yeah. So send in your birthday wishes for Matt. You can still do that till 16th.
Yep.
So let's just jump into the episode then.
Yes.
Obviously the reason we chose this episode was Conrad and Nick's relationship.
Yep.
And the first scene in the episode is a flashback of them at the 404 Tavern.
Yep.
And
where they first met.
And it's Irving and Conrad. So, hi, Tasso. And Jess.
And Jessica.
Yep. So, Tasso and Jessica. Hello. And anyways, that first flashback is like, whoa, Jessica didn't like Irving either, so.
they're so funny. They're both still comical in the first scene. They had chemistry in that first scene.
But yeah, I mean, it was like Conrad is like he cheats at pool. Nick calls him out on it. Yeah. By the way, Conrad can't rap.
Yeah, that's actually my very first note. Conrad is rapping, not well. And also, I actually have a video of him from like 2 years ago, from the first season, where he did rap. It was pretty popular. It's still shared, or I still see it being shared around every now and then. But it's a video that was caught by Coral Pena, who played Louisa. But yeah, it was him like freestyle rapping.
Yeah, Matt's pretty good, but as Conrad, not so much.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love how Nick's like, oh great, there are gonna be more of these horrible, arrogant interns. Oh boy, she's just not into it at all. But as it goes on, they first show Conrad doing this procedure, and he was doing it to his patient in the show too. So he did it twice. Yeah. And I don't really, he was getting fluid off the heart or something. I don't really know how to explain it.
Tamponade.
Yeah.
Tamponade. Where they like stick a needle through your chest or whatever and start draining out your, because like the fluid that's been built up around your heart. Because if you have fluid built up in your heart, your heart has a hard time beating.
So, but the first time he did it, right after he did it, he asked Nick out on a date.
I don't think he didn't even get a chance to really ask her. He was like stumbling through the question, but Nick was like, "Okay, I'm free on this date. I'm good with anything, and white tablecloths is not my thing."
But I wrote on here, I want to see this date. So that would be a cool thing to show before they get married or something.
Yeah.
So there's that. I also noticed Nurse Hundley was in the episode. So hello, Denitra.
Is there? Yep.
Yep, she's amazing. I haven't seen her around in a while, so. So that was cool. I think the next, because I wrote them, I tried to write them in order in my list of things. The next thing that they brought up was Nick's miscarriage. And this isn't a thing sometimes when I bring it up, people are like, Nick had a miscarriage? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, go watch 3 Words.
Yeah, that was a really hard scene. This is so sad. I feel so. We're celebrating Mother's Day, and I would imagine that it's a hard day also for the moms who's lost their baby.
Yeah, because
whether through miscarriage or through stillborns or whatever, you all are still moms.
So Nick is still a mom.
Yeah.
But apparently it was on New Year's Eve, which is something I had totally forgotten about.
Yeah, I put that on there, like New Year's Eve. But was it like New Year's right before season 1 happened, or?
That's the question I have. Which New Year's was this? How recent was the breakup? I still don't have that answer, even after all of rewatching this. So I still have that question. And, when Nick asked Conrad, what were you going to do? And he's like, we were going to get through it together or whatever. So he did have full intentions of going through this with her.
Yeah.
Then the next time they show the flashbacks, Conrad and Nick they're in the patient's home or whatever, right? And they're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Conrad's like, Nick's talking about him not changing and all this crap, which I don't understand. Why does she go back to Conrad, even with everything else that went on, if he didn't change?
Yeah.
If she didn't think he had changed, why? I mean, I know a lot of stuff happened. She got put in jail. She had all this stuff with Lane and all this stuff. And Conrad did help her through that. He even paid her, well, Marshall paid her bill.
Yeah, but that's because Conrad asked him to.
Yeah. So it was a Conrad thing. So he did help her through all that. So she realized obviously he still loves her. And he wants to help her through it. So, but the fact is I don't really understand why she's telling him you haven't changed when he obviously has. So,
yeah.
That's kind of my biggest complaint about the episode. But they show the breakup at the 404 Tavern. And I love the scene prior to all this happening where she's talking about Star Wars. Because I'm a big nerd, okay?
I was like, Conrad has never watched Star Wars? What? And then he better have had some kind of marathon on Star Wars. Since that, like, Nick better sit him on the couch and spend like 8 hours watching Star Wars.
And watch it in the proper order, that's all I gotta say.
Yes! And no, I'm not talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. We're talking about in like cinematical order, okay? I do not watch it 1, 2, 3. No, because I grew up going 4, 5, The New Hope.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
So, yeah, educate Conrad, and I would love to see him reference it. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I love that moment. But Nick actually gets sexually assaulted, and Conrad just snaps.
Yeah, he's done that twice. Obviously this is the first time because this is before season 1 aired. But the second time was also season 1 when the guy who was there for his leg or whatever sent her dick pics.
Yeah, so they did a Me Too episode early in season 1. And
yep.
So, but yeah, Conrad does not take lightly to Nick being sexually harassed or assaulted and will defend her at all costs. So,
yep.
But Nick's like, I can't take this and I can't do this anymore. That's actual quote. I can't do this anymore. And then, everything. But, May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And so Nick's mental health obviously has to be in question here because miscarriages can trigger so much stuff.
Yeah.
Because she's going through all these hormones. Her body was prepping for her to have a baby. So that has to be something that I won't brought back up. Did this trigger her panic attacks? Did it trigger all this other stuff? Conrad obviously had PTSD issues from Afghanistan. Yeah. So, again, it needs to be brought back up. He says he was, getting the help and stuff, but I would, doctors are human too. They're medical professionals, but they're human too. They still have to go to therapists. So I would like to see them bring that part of it into the show a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I this part of it was obviously their mental health on both sides was obviously a culprit to their end of their first relationship.
Yes. Have they ever shown Conrad or Nick going to therapy?
No, they haven't. Or couples therapy. It would be an interesting spin on an episode. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering this show this episode has implied they both suffer from some kind of mental illness. It would be a cool thing to explore that as well as before the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So many things. We're all waiting for a iconic wedding. Hopefully it's season 4. If it's not season 4, it should be season 5. But
I'd hate to wait that long for a wedding.
Yeah, but there's so much unresolved issues between them that I would like them to resolve it before they walk around.
A relationship counselor might be a good idea.
Yeah, I would like them to resolve all of those issues before they walk down the aisle. Mm-hmm. You don't want to walk down the aisle with issues already. You know what I mean?
No. But I did, there was a scene in the present time of the show where they talk about would they have all gotten back together had these current certain steps of the relationship not happened. Lily dying, Marshall returning, Nick being arrested, everything else, the miscarriage and everything else goes on with it. Obviously, Nick was a proponent to Marshall and Conrad.
Yep.
She was probably one of the biggest pushes for that.
Yep.
But, all this happening, like they call it the butterfly effect. If something happens, it triggers something down the line. Well, I honestly believe that, I think all these things were played into Conrad and Nick being put back together.
Yep.
And Conrad believes that they would have been back together no matter what. But I do believe if Nick was right, would they be back together if all this hadn't happened? Probably not. Yeah. Would we have what we have now? No.
No.
So, and I love the fact that the episode ended at the 404 Tavern with them playing pool. I love that it bookended.
Yeah, they both, it began and ended at the same place.
And playing pool, and it was Irving's 3-year bash or whatever.
Yeah.
Really should be Irving and Conrad, because Conrad was around, he started at the same time, so.
Yeah. Which I put down that this is also probably Devon's 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
Too. Because that means that, I would assume that internship starts around the same time of the year, every year. So, if it was their 3rd-year anniversary, it would be Devon's 1-year anniversary. So that means that the pilot in this episode, between those 2 episodes, it's a calendar year.
So there you go for the timeline of the show. It's kind of confusing. It really is.
Yeah.
But I loved the end quote was when Conrad shoots the shot at pool. She tells him, "I seem to remember missing that shot a lot," and you don't see his pull shot. You don't see where it goes. And Conrad just goes, "Not this time." And it's a big metaphor to their relationship. He's like, "I'm not going to mess that up this time."
Yeah.
So, obviously, Conrad and Nick did break up once after all this happening. But they've worked on their issues, so.
But
some.
The line that touched me the most was when Conrad was talking to Marshall. And, Marshall was like, I want to take this olive branch, but I'm wondering what caused it. And Conrad said, "I want people to believe that I have changed. I have to believe others have too." And to me, that's not only a great thing that he's, realizing, but it's a turning point on their relationship, Conrad and Marshall, because, Conrad was just talking shit about Marshall not that long ago to Belle, talking about, scorched earth, watch your back, etc., etc. To now, he's like, okay, I'm open to the possibility that you've changed, because I'm trying to persuade Nick that I've changed, so I have to be open to believing that you've changed too, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. He's not being a hypocrite, which I can't stand. So Conrad realizes if he's going to have to prove himself to Nick, he needs to do it for Marshall too. And Nick, like I said, Nick's the proponent to pushing Marshall and Conrad to talk. So in the end, she did something without really realizing it, at least started it. And then she kept pushing him, so it ended up working out.
Yeah.
But I do have something about Irving and Jessica. And I just really loved how they interacted with each other, and the fact that they really didn't like each other. There's so much chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so ready to see Connick and Feldmore get married. I don't know whether they're going to do a double wedding or not, but
probably not.
We did get a double proposal.
I imagine Feldmore, what's that called? Go to Vegas and eloping But I imagine Connick having this huge wedding at, like, Chastain Hospital in the lobby or whatever.
In the ballroom?
Yeah, because remember we actually did have, like, a little game where, like, we planned the Connick wedding or whatever. But I should start posting that again. But anyway, yeah, I just imagine we'll talk about this more in 2 weeks when we talk about the proposals, but the proposals were in line with the couples, you know, like how we know the couples, which is like Feldmore is very comedic, funny, you love them because, you know, they bring light to the show, so it's appropriate that they have a more comedic, funny kind of proposal, whereas Connick is like more romantic and serious, etc. So their proposal was, and I imagine that their weddings are going to be the same too, where it's going to be in line with each couple. That's why I believe that I would not be surprised if, like, an Elvis impersonator, or maybe even Dollywood, like, officiates the wedding. She could totally officiate the Feldmore wedding. So I'm saying that would be in line with their character, having like a Elvis impersonator or Dollywood, you know, officiate their wedding and eloping and stuff like that.
So, yeah, that would be awesome. We're very excited about these two relationships. But
I would love to see Todd Sherry come back to do Feldmore wedding.
He was amazing. Oh, he was amazing. But there's more to this episode. There was a plot line in the episode about a saline shortage. And saline is probably the number one thing used in a hospital. Every time I've ever been admitted to the hospital, whether it be for pain or surgery, I was hooked up to a bag of saline.
Yes. What I found funny, though, is they both, Irving and Conrad, were running around, like, to different nurses or whatever, begging for saline. They were, like, selling this sob story or whatever. And, like, the two nurses were like, again, you've asked this before, da-da-da-da-da. And so which prompted, obviously, Conrad to talk to Belle about the saline problem. And then Belle, I love how Marshall stepped in on that, like, you know, meeting when Belle was talking to the other CEOs who were gonna put in money, I guess, for the saline company or something. And like, Marshall stepped in and, like, put all the other people on blast, talking about all the money that they owe and stuff like that, and how they're almost bankrupt.
Yeah, I mean, Marshall is like, I'm sitting here going, he's got a really good private investigator, because, I mean, we see it. It's not the first time we see this, okay? I mean, it was not the last time anyway, because in later season with Julian, I'm just like, dang. I mean, obviously he's loaded, so... but yeah,
I need his PI.
But there's a line from a conversation between Conrad and Irving, and we're a level 1 trauma center and we can't get enough bags of salt water. And Irving's like, this happens in third world countries, but it shouldn't happen here.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And Conrad's like, I'm gonna go speak truth to power, and it's like he's like Belle, and Belle's already working on it, but Belle's like, how do you sneak past my assistant? And I'm sitting there going, oh, I miss Grayson.
I think this was before Grayson.
It's before Grayson, but I was like, oh my god, I miss him.
I know. Radek, please come join us on the podcast. I sent him a message, but he hasn't replied.
But I loved that one. But, you know, Marshall's like, yeah, let's go to this conference, and we're going to take my private jet. Marshall does not trust Belle at all.
Is Belle on AA? Or a kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous or something like that?
I don't know. Because, I mean, he forgoes the alcohol. I'm thinking maybe he just didn't want to have a foggy mind or whatever, but it really didn't make any sense because we've seen him drink
Yeah, because I mean, like he kept like refusing the alcohol on the plane, and went for what's it called, sparkling water or whatever, it's club soda, and so that's how I was like, is he like alcoholic or what's going on? Because you know, then what's his name? Marshall was like offering him 1937 wine or whatever.
Yeah, and it costed him $30,000. Okay.
$30,000 a bottle, and he's like, "I want club soda." I was like, "Okay,
You're lost." But whatever.
I don't drink alcohol.
I don't drink either. So, but you're lost, Belle.
I would have said the $30,000 one, even if I don't drink.
Yeah, I mean, I don't drink, but yeah, that's kind of one of those things where I was like, I probably would have pulled a Belle, but yeah. But I do love how Marshall just keeps reinserting himself. Because he's like, no, I don't trust you, Belle. No, I don't trust you.
Yeah. Well, he was like, leave the business to business people or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
To Val. Because Val was like, try so hard to start this sailing stuff. Which is understandable. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense why hospitals are running out of water. That's pretty much what sailing is water. It's not like some expensive medicine or whatever. It's just water. So, but yeah.
But yeah, I have a question here. Why did Marshall actually agree to be the chairman of the board? Was it Conrad or was it?
Yeah, it was Conrad. Remember, because
was he just trying to protect Conrad?
I don't know, but wasn't that season 1 finale?
I don't
Belle
remember.
walks into the conference room. Belle walks into the conference room or whatever, so he's like expecting you to be the head of the board, and at the end of the table, there came a page to Marshall's face, and then Belle's like look of shock or whatever, because like he was in trouble with the board or whatever, with the whole Lane thing. So I guess they voted in Marshall. But yeah, it was like season 1 finale. I mean, it was really good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, obviously he wanted to make sure his son had a job, right?
Yeah.
But I love I love that Marshall just like, he shuts Belle completely down. He goes and buys the sailing factory himself, and he's just like, and Belle's just like, why don't you pull this crap? And Marshall's like, it's not about you. It's not about you, Belle. So, but yeah, Marshall saved Chastain that day, and obviously they've never run out of saline again.
Yeah. But, we haven't heard anything about that company since.
Mm-mm.
The factory or whatever since.
No, so that would be an interesting follow-up.
Yeah.
See how that's going. But yeah, Marshall and Belle both complained to Conrad. Poor Conrad's trapped in the middle of both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved, that, like you've already brought up the Marshall conversation with Conrad, but I just really loved that. That was a wonderful scene with them.
Yeah, it's a turning point for them because now you can see, but Conrad is meeting him halfway. I even loved how Conrad, even though he said it sarcastically, sort of, Conrad called Marshall Dad.
Mm-hmm. It took him a long time to say it truthfully.
Yeah. Yeah, but he said that. Was that the first time he actually said Dad to Marshall?
I think so. Because I remember having this freak out moment. Like, oh my god. He actually just didn't call him Marshall. He called him Dad.
Yeah. Even though it was sarcastically. Mm-hmm. But that's a big turning point. That's like, he's finally accepting his father. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
you know, and realizing that, hey, his dad has changed and stuff. So it's awesome, like, how much progress each relationship has gone through. Because we go from, you know, hating his father pretty much to now, you know, accepting his advice, seeking out his advice, not just accepting his advice, but seeking out his father's advice and stuff. So it's awesome. I love the relationship.
Yep. I'm hoping for more growth in the next season once we get it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the
Minator!
Minator!
Oh my god, I love Minator. Most of my notes is about Minator.
Yeah. We have tons of Minator in this episode. I absolutely loved, like, AJ's ragging on Belle. He's fussing about Belle being on him about billing and all
using
this.
the Titian.
Yeah, to do the Titian.
And I love how Mina is like bugging him. She's like following him around the hospital. Like, I don't want you fired, okay? So use the damn machine. And so the scene that I remember is when she's called him into the room when there was a Titian or whatever. And like, she's like building a Barbie dream house or whatever. So she's like, you probably don't know how to use this machine. That's why you are not, you don't want to build it. So I want to show you how to do it. And he pushes her, he like sits down the machine or whatever and knocks down all of the, what are those things called? Legos. And then he builds a raptor. I'm like,
and he goes, at one point in the episode, AJ goes up to Conrad and he says, he calls about himself in third person and he says, I'm embracing being the raptor or whatever. And Conrad just looks at him like, what?
I love when he went up to Conrad and was like, I need your advice. He's like, Belle is trying to force me to use this Titian or whatever, so he's gonna fire me. And Conrad was like, well, then you're gonna have to use the machine.
Conrad's like, I'm not getting in the middle of this one.
He was like, that wasn't what I was expecting.
Not from you, Conrad. Yeah, it's like, you don't expect Conrad to say, just go with the flow. You don't ever expect him to.
Yeah. I guess AJ wanted him to say, hey, go over Belle or whatever.
But I really did love, like, Mina's like, he would have, if he was going to fire you, he would have already done it, but whatever. Yeah. But I do love him building the little raptor. It was hilarious.
I know, it's so cute.
Malcolm's performance, and the chemistry between Shawnette and Malcolm, this episode is one of the ones that highlights it in the earlier days.
Yeah, I just love how she kept following him around. Like, you need to use this machine. You need to learn how to do it. Because she knows he's the best surgeon. And she wants to learn from the best, so she didn't want to lose her mentor or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love Minator. Oh.
So yeah, we did get some good Minator, but there was obviously the patients that were in this episode.
Yeah.
There were a married couple, which is what triggered Connick to talk about their relationship.
Yeah, they both had like this mysterious illness thing. It was like, I don't even remember what they had. They were using a lot of big words.
It was called acute silicosis, which was triggered from they made pottery, and it was triggered by volcanic ash on their honeymoon because they were in Hawaii.
Yeah. The Big Island.
The Big Island, which is right where you're at.
No, I'm on Oahu.
Yeah.
Big Island is a different place.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a volcano here in Hawaii, Mauna Kea, I believe. That's been like erupting continuously since the 1980s or whatever. And so, yeah, we have days here where we call it fog, where it gets really bad. The air quality gets bad because of the volcanic eruption. So I'm not surprised at all that someone, it could trigger that kind of respiratory issues. Because here in Hawaii, when it gets bad, and we have like the warnings or whatever for it and stuff. So yeah.
There's that. Yep.
Anyway, a little background on Hawaii.
The background on Hawaii and the fact that this can actually happen. And then there's this guy named...
Oh, also, we have to give a shout out to Fifth Element Beans. They're the ones who created the necklace, who kind of prompted, I don't know, Nick and Connick, to realize that what was going on with the clay. So anyway, yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's another character. His name was Hugh, and AJ actually puts his pacemaker in. But it's start of the Covatus arc, pretty much. And Julian's in this episode, played by
Jenna Dewan.
Jenna Dewan. She just had a baby.
So happy Mother's Day to Jenna. She has a beautiful son. My son's name is Callum, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Callum.
Anyway, this guy has a defibrillator and pacemaker put in by AJ. He already had one put in by AJ. AJ replaces it because the Covatus one failed.
Yeah. And it kept, like, zapping him over and over again until I guess it was such a high, zap or whatever. It felt like he was being electrocuted. That's why
that's the patient that he's dealing with through the episode.
Yeah, Devon.
Devon and Julian and AJ are dealing with through the episode. And then we have Devon and Julian, the start of the stuff where I knew something was going to happen. It didn't come truly clear until a couple episodes later.
Yeah.
When they did the kiss and the Bollywood dance and all this stuff, it was brought up in this episode. And Devon's trying to learn to dance, and they're slow dancing, and I'm like, oh crap, they're gonna go there, they're gonna ruin this.
Mina saw them.
Yeah, Mina was me. Her reaction was me. Mina was her, like I'm thinking like they're like wanted Mina there to like represent the audience, like, Devon, what are you doing?
Like, what the F?
Yeah. So,
like that's Bollywood dancing. That is not Bollywood dancing. No, I have never seen anybody do that in Bollywood.
So, but they did do a Bollywood dance, and there's a video of it somewhere.
Yeah, on Facebook and the rest, and Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's someone corrected it, saying that it wasn't actually Bollywood. It was another different style of dance. Because I said on Instagram, I believe, that this doesn't look like the Bollywood that I remember. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I've seen a couple of Bollywood dances, real ones, and so what someone from India said that it wasn't actually Bollywood, it was a different style or whatever. But yeah, anyway, the start of Julian and Devon was pretty much this episode.
Yep. So, but yeah, like you knew that they were going down this road with where they went with it by like the end of this episode, and like for me, like Mina was the audience reaction in many ways, because like there's multiple episodes where she's just like, Devon, what are you doing? Devon, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like, you're engaged! Stay away from that woman.
So, really, that's all we discussed every part of this episode that was there. Obviously, Connick's past was the big reason we chose this episode, because we're doing Month of Connick.
Yes.
So next week's episode, we're going to be doing Flesh of My Flesh, which is 302. That's a big episode for Connick because they move in together. Conrad gets his chickens.
Yeah. What's so funny is that Amy Holden-Jones had just posted a picture of their board for season 3, like what they had. I guess in the writer's room, they have a board of like what they plan out for each episode or whatever, so the scene. And I've noted this on Instagram. I said the top box under season 3, episode 2, Conrad and Nick move in together with chickens. And I was like, right there on the box, and I'm sitting there going, the writers know exactly what we want.
Yeah, we want chickens. But also, that episode is also a big episode for AJ, so we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But, so that's part 3 of Comic Month. That'll be next week.
Yes.
And
next weekend for both of us are going to be busy because we're actually going to be
recording Steven's interview. Yeah.
2 podcast episodes. We're taping one on Saturday. That will be with Steven. And then Sunday we're going to be taping one also. That's from Flesh on My Flesh. Yeah. And then actually the next 2 weekends it's going to be...
We're recording Saturday and Sunday, so... Yeah.
Pray for us. We might need some prayers. I don't know how we're going to survive this.
But before we go, because we're really excited about all this content we're giving y'all. But before we go, I just want to mention that you can contact us multiple ways. Obviously, Instagram. That's the first really line of contact here, is The Resident Podcast. And then there's Camille's Instagram, which is The Resident on Fox Fans. And then there's mine, which is KB Country 37. And if you ever want to answer as to why it's what it is, just ask me. I have a really awesome story. Anyway, email.
We both run the Resident Podcast Instagram, so you might, if it's Kayla that's answering, you should say it's Kayla. And if it's me, I probably won't say it's Camille. I just answer you.
But I usually do say if it's me or not. That way you know which one of us you're talking to.
Yeah.
And if it's really early in the morning on the East Coast, it's probably me.
Yeah. I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we also have an email, which is theresidentRulebreakers@gmail.com. That's also where you need to send Matt's birthday wishes up till the 16th on Saturday. So if you have a birthday wish from Matt, just shoot it to there, and I will get it put together for social media on the 20th.
You can even send it to me on Instagram because I could somehow or other send it to Kayla.
Yeah. We can.
But,
yeah. So there's always that. There's obviously the Facebook group we have, the Resident on Fox Fans. So if you're in there, yay, we love you guys very much. If you're not, then answer the questions and join, but you have to answer the questions. And then we also have the Twitter, which I don't monitor, but it's still there. I do post the links to the podcast anyway. It's Resident Podcast. So there's that. Just in case you want to know when the new episodes release or whatever. And then, of course, how do you listen? Obviously, you know how because you're listening to us. But SoundCloud is obviously an option here. Spotify, if you like to take it with you or whatever, Spotify is a very good option. YouTube, obviously, just audio at this point. Apple Podcasts, if you have an iPhone, if you have an Android, it's Google Play. So, and then, of course, tune in next Monday for our breakdown of Flesh of My Flesh.
Yes.
So, until next week, I'm Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
Bye.
Bye.